Good morning to all of you. So we are going to talk about how to write a quality research paper for upcoming research symposium of our university. So some research methods concepts I'll introduce first in few minutes, and then I'm going to take you to exact paper template and how to write paper for our symposium. Okay, so I'm Ravindra Koggalage, Dean of Faculty of Engineering Technology. That's why I'm trying to explain how to write a good paper relevant for engineering technology. So other faculties, they talk about how to write papers relevant for their disciplines. Because when you present something, different areas, there are different ways to write papers and consider different styles as well. Now, first thing, when you doing a research, we need to know how to find a research idea. So as undergraduates, you may have done different projects, different experiments, whatever, right? So you may know how to conduct a research. But important thing is, now here we are going to learn how to present it to other audiences. So when you present something, we have to consider they are not technical experts sometimes, those who read your paper, right? So it is understandable for anyone, but in different levels. Okay? Now, before doing any research, we need to know how to get an idea. So research means we don't know what's the exact result unless you conduct the research and do experiments and until you see data or outcome of what you do, right? It may work or not. That's why it's a research. So experiments we have to do so many times. But when you try to find new thing, it is something like we are going to a land no man goes. Because no one knows about this. That's why this is a research. Until we find, we don't know. Then the answer, the question, no man answers. So we have to find an answer where no one else can answer, right? Then only there's a value for our research. Then fulfill the gap no man fulfill. No man means someone else not fulfilling. That's why we are doing it. It's the service for the society or the world. Create the new knowledge no man creates. So if I go to a graphical form, so we are in the mainland. So what we have already known, what you already have. Then your topic should be not everyone knows or available widely. Then it is not going to be a research, no? So we have to identify the land no man goes. So what we do, not know, right? So not know in area. So that is where your research topic going to be. There's something new for others, right? So this doesn't mean you have to innovate completely new thing. Everyone cannot innovate something. But sometimes we can add value to existing ones. Okay? So that is how we can select our topic. So there are a few questions you can ask in your research. So you have to select a topic, no? So what to do? In the topic, you have to explain what it is, right? What your finding or what your research is. Then not only topic, then you have to, if you ask, why I am doing this research, this project, right? So others may ask, why are you doing this? So you have to ask the question, why? So why means you can identify, you can ask questions and your reasons why this is useful, right? So when you answer these questions, you will automatically fill in your paper or presentation, okay? So you have to decide your topic, then your reasons, questions, why to do. Then for what? That is your goal, okay? For what this is. And which area you are doing this. Now when you are selecting your projects, even your final year projects, there are so many things to do. But you can't do everything, right? You have many constraints, no? Time constraints, resources, whatever available. So you have to select what we can do, right? What our group or I can do. So that is called your scope. So you can clearly say, I am not going to do these things because it is out of my scope, right? So if you are doing PCB design or something, probably you can't fabricate the PCB here, no? So you can clearly mention, I am not going to fabricate this, but design and how to draw that, right? What you are going to do, that is your scope. Don't tell I am doing all those things, because you can tell these are out of my scope, out of my research area, okay? So define your scope. So all those things you can put into introduction and problem statement. All those things can put under introduction. Background of study, what are the problems, and what you are doing, right? What is your focus? And these areas I am not touching, I cannot do. It's out of my scope, right? So scope term you understand, no? Your scope. What we have already known. So then you have to find what we means other people, what are the things already known, already available. How do you find that? You have to read what others have done, no? Others have invented. So there are other relevant research papers you can read, or publications, magazines, newspapers, internet, wherever you have to find out, or maybe YouTube, no? New innovations and so on, to see what is already there. So that is called literature review. We have to refer literature, right? And your presentation, your paper, when you present, you have to mention those. In this paper, they have done this thing. But they have not addressed this particular thing, okay? So mention something already there. Then why you are not doing the same thing, right? Maybe it may be available in other countries, but very costly. So Sri Lankan small scale people cannot afford that, right? We need low cost solution, right? Like that you can justify why you are doing this, okay? So for that we need to know what is existing, what others have done, why we cannot use that here. So that is how you market to your project, right? So that is, we use our literature review, okay? So try to find latest findings. Sometimes theories you may refer older textbooks or whatever, but better to refer latest recent papers. Not 10, 15 years old, but because technology is changing now. So recent papers you can find through internet or library or use other resources for your literature review, right? Remember, still we are not in what we are doing, but we search what is available right now. So you have to mention those things and tell why your product is, there's a value than existing one, right? Why you are doing this. So you have to mention that. Then come to your project. Then you have to explain how you are going to do that, right? How you are doing this. So that is your method. So different research, there are different methods, no? So you can explain what you are doing, method. Then what is expected once you complete this. So that is going to be new knowledge, okay? Your findings. Once you implement this, you have to test and get results and analyze them, and you can go to your conclusion. This is what I have achieved with this project, okay? And compare with existing ones. What is the difference? What is the advantages and also disadvantages? So you can talk about both the advantages and disadvantages compared to existing ones. Okay? So what is expected? So if you follow this order, it's easy to formulate your presentation. Okay? So there's a standard way of presenting when you are presenting to scientific conferences, scientific way of presenting them. So I'm talking about normally your thesis, your final year project, or if you are doing higher degrees, masters, or whatever, up to PhD, you are supposed to write a final report, thesis, right? Even final year, you have to submit thesis, right? Or dissertation, we call. They are also following the same thing. Now, structure of thesis, proposal initially. I think you have submitted your proposal yet, or still writing? Still writing, no? So this will be useful for you. So the background and significance of the problem. That is the question, why? Why we are doing this, right? So you have to tell the background to explain about your project and tell why. Why means what is the significance of doing this, right? Why we are doing. Then you can find out for what, that is objectives, right? So in your report you can write your objectives, but research paper normally we do not put in point form, but your proposal or final year project, sometimes you can put them objectives separately, but when writing papers we write paragraph form, not just point form, right? You have to write complete sentences like paragraphs. Each objective you can explain. Then, as I explained earlier, scope of the research, right? Considering limitations and all other constraints, this is what I'm going to do in this project, or this is what I'm going to present in this paper, research paper. It may not be the whole project. Research paper may be some value addition you can present. Okay? So scope also you can mention. And this is another thing, term definition. When you use terms, you have to define it, because we can't expect everyone familiar with our field reading this, right? And sometimes same term, there can be different meanings. I'll take an example, maybe abstract or something, to show you how to define terms we are using, right? Sometimes the meaning maybe we know it, but for the reader it gives different idea, right? Therefore we have to tell this is what we meant by this term, right? Define the terms. And literature review I already mentioned. We'll go into more detail when you come to real paper. So we do literature review to get an idea what we have already known or what others already known or implemented in this area, right? So the literature review. Then research method is how to do. That is your own project. This is how we are doing this project, right? What components, how you assemble, right? And all those setup method. Then so in your paper actually it is not expected benefits. You can put that into your introduction part or problem statement, that area. In research paper you have to put your test results also. Maybe photos of your complete implementation and what kind of output you get, right? When you run this, so implement, right? And what are the results from your system? And then you can compare the success of that product, no? Compare with what are the errors, what are the shortcomings or advantages. So results and analysis. Analysis means you have to tell about the results. This is 80% success or something like that, right? Compare to how much errors or how can you reduce errors, all those discussion. Then finally, small part, conclusion about what you have done and the expected benefits. If you mentioned earlier with the objectives or somewhere, you can finally tell whether you have achieved expected benefits, right? Or some benefits may not achieved, right? Some may be 100% you can achieve. Certain things may be 80%, 70% or something like that, right? So conclusion, you can mention what you have achieved. So to be a good researcher, what kind of mind you should have? Curious mind, questioning, right? Then you need kind of creativity also, right? Something different from what others think in creativeness. And love of reading, because you need to read relevant books, articles, what others have done in that area, right? So better to read more in that area. And love of questioning. You have to ask questions. Why? Right? So all those things you can use when you are writing your paper. Sorry, it has gone to the other mode. Or maybe, okay. Then there are two types of researchers. One is called qualitative methods. So qualitative and quantitative, these are the two things. Quality and quantity. Quantity you can measure, no? You can give a figure. But quality, let's say good. How can you measure? When someone say this is good, very difficult to give you exact figure, no? So when you eat something, food or something, this is tasty. How much? It depends person to person, no? So that is the quality. Quality very difficult to give exact figure, but you can find methods to compare them. So qualitative methods, as the name indicates, are methods that do not involve measurements or statistics, right? Qualitative method gathers data through, for example, you can interview persons, right? Or observation, and maybe you have discussions with certain different groups, what they think about that. It is not an exact figure, right? So the qualitative research in a but normally engineering we have quantitative things. We can measure and collect data, no exact figures. But you can publish or write papers in both qualitative and quantitative. Okay, sometimes you can combine them as well. So when you further think about earlier questions, what expected? Tell your readers what knowledge you expect to get, right? So always you have to remember, when you write something, you are writing for reader, right? So you have to tell your readers what knowledge you expect to get in your research. So this is a kind of research cycle normally we can go. So background is, where do you want to go? Then you have to do some kind of planning to have research question and topic. Then finding your way, searching and sources. So you may go back and change your planning according to these things. And you have to evaluate what did you find. Then you have to put them all together. So time to time there are errors. You may go back and come back again to this step. Then reflect, where do you want to go next, what to do next, and so on. Okay, it's just a graphical form of doing research. This is another structured diagram. So you have to define your research problem. Then you have to review the literature. So when literature, you may read about concepts, theories, and also what others have done, others found similar areas, right? So when you read a few papers, refer them. In your paper, you have to put list of references, relevant ones, right? And quote them in different places. This paper, they have done this, but why ours different? So tell about the weaknesses of them, sometimes advantages and weaknesses, and we are going to address which something they have not addressed, right? So literature review part, you can then formulate a hypothesis. If necessary, I will explain a bit about how you are going to test, what you are going to test, right, after you implement. Then, of course, design your methodology, how you do the thing, or collect data. Then analyze data. After analyzing, you have to interpret them also. What does that data means, collected data means. So we are not just talking about how to do research, but scientific research. So there are standards. It's a kind of formal definition I got from a book. Investigation or experimentation aimed at the discovery and interpretation of facts. Revision of accepted theories. So we can revise accepted theories or laws in the light of new facts. We don't have to blindly believe all the theories. Sometimes they are changing, no? So you can discuss about any changes. So when you do experiments, if it is not according to the theory, you have to find why. Or practical applications of such new or revised theories or laws. The collecting of information about a particular subject. Again, 4 things: observation, you have to observe, and then form hypotheses, what you are going to do, and test in simple form. Then you do the testing. Also you can, based on testing, you can have predictions of future work, and maybe go back to hypothesis and change it again. According to, while you are doing, you may change certain things, okay? So it's a kind of, when doing research, if the experiments prove the hypothesis to be true, it becomes a theory or law of nature, right? So if many experiments prove this is happening, it will become a theory or law, right? If the experiments prove the hypothesis to be false, the hypothesis must be rejected or modified, okay? Depend on the results. The scientific method used properly should give us predictive power. So to understand phenomena which have not been tested. So you can predict, if you do this, this will happen. Then we can try and see whether it is happening, right? Predictive power when you do something. So your experiments can be performed in the laboratory, university lab or something, or you can do experiments by reading what others have done and gain knowledge from literature. So I'm not going to explain more about these things. Hypothesis also, if necessary, we'll go back and discuss those things, because I want you to, you can form mathematical models if necessary. So I don't want to tell you theory or something, because we need to know how to write our paper, no? So we'll try to go to that. So suggestions, know what has been done by others, right? That is important. You have to read relevant papers. At least 5 papers you have to refer, okay? Relevant to that. Do not reinvent the wheel unnecessarily. If someone has done something, why do we do the same thing, no? But if you can add at least something, then it's okay, right? Not the same thing. So understand your field. This qualifies you to make reasonable hypotheses about fundamental advances in the field. Do not strive to solve all problems in the field. So do not try to solve everything. You focus into something, small thing, and do that, okay? Small advances in your field. Small advancements lead to critical development. So little by little. So identify a weakness and you try to address that, right? Like you are doing in your research. So we can't do everything from the scratch to implementation, right? Only certain part. Like I asked whether you are developing software part. No, that is out of your scope. So you are implementing the hardware implementation, no? Actually. So you can identify what you are doing. And last one is prepare to report results even if hypothesis fails. So we expect something, but actually when we implemented, there may be changes. Not really happening what we expected. But still you can present it. It's the important thing. Right? Not only successful things we are presenting, even unsuccessful things you can present. Because otherwise, other people try the same thing and end up with wrong results. So if you can mention, if you do this way, you won't get correct results, then it is useful for others. That's why we also read other papers. We can get ideas what they have tried, what were successful, what were unsuccessful, right? Otherwise, you have to do everything and find by yourself. So these days we can read what others have done. So when we are writing also, we are telling our experiences. False hypotheses are also advancements in science and will save others time and money on repeating these experiments. That is understandable, no? වැරදුනා නම් මොනවා හරි ඒකත් කියන්න ඕන. So you have to tell others. So they won't do the same thing. No? They can save time and money. So failed hypothesis should also be used to make suggestions for future directions, making you an expert since you can suggest new directions in your field. So you can, even you cannot do that, you can tell what you can do future, right? Then others can try your suggestions. So these are again summarizing scientific method. You need to observe, then form hypothesis, what you are going to do, how you are going to test. What you are going to do and how you are going to test it, whether it's working properly or not, right? That one you have to mention that. Then you are going to implement it and try the testings you have mentioned and check whether, compare results, whether it is working properly or not, right? You have to explain them in the paper. So let's go on to another screen again, okay. So when you are presenting, there are few ways of doing that. Publishing, abstract presentation, it's very short presentation, then a complete conference paper, maybe 5-6 pages, that's what they are expecting here, whole paper, conference paper. And journal paper is a long descriptive one, like your whole report, okay, maybe 10 pages or more. Now, conference papers are normally 5 to 6 pages in that format. Okay, so let's go back to our. Now, have you gone to our research website, university? First thing, you have to go to website. Let me see. Right. So if you go to UOVT website, there's a link called More Information UOVT IRS 2023. Okay. So just go to university website and find this link. So when you click this link, you'll go to this our conference website, right? So from there, what do you need? Now we need how to write our paper, the template. Where can we find that? From these menus, try. Can you read the smaller fonts? So here, home, about, event details. Event details is conference day. Venue is where they are going to have it. Now, this is the important one for you when writing papers, right? Guidelines, author guidelines, right? So call for paper, contains what are the submission deadline and so on, right? So you have to go to author guidelines, right? So we have to follow exact guidelines. In this case, it is, so when you click that, you'll go to this guidelines for preparation of full papers. So conference paper preparation, all papers should be written in English. That is understandable, no? So maximum length of a paper is limited to 6 printed A4 pages. So when you say papers, you can have different size of fonts and so on, right? You can't use our own sizes. There's a specific IEEE conference proceeding format. So you can download that template file from this link. Be careful to download a relevant one for your field, in our case engineering technology. Okay. And other faculties also, other areas, there are different templates. So you can download this IEEE reference guide and also this template. Okay. So when you click that, we have download template file. Okay. So this is a template file. When you get this file, you have to follow exact format. Format means the font size, where you put the, and when you go downwards, it's double column, no? Not single column. So you have to follow exact this format. And font size and everything are mentioned. But easier way to do is use this template and you can edit here, cut and paste anything to this format. Okay. So for example, now I cannot edit this, so I have to enable editing. Right. So your Word, you can open this file, no? Better to rename this and save somewhere and then edit. So first you can put your title before delete anything. Let's say I write design and implementation of something. What you are going to do? PCB design. PCB circuit. So I'm just telling you easier way to edit. Before deleting that thing, better to edit first. Yes, then you put in same font and size. Okay. So after that, you can delete the unnecessary existing ones. Okay. So instructions we don't need. So this is the paper title. You select your correct title and put like that. Okay. Then unnecessary information, not subtitles are not captured in Explore. So don't put subtitles here, right? So this unnecessary information you can delete. Then, so when you use this template, it's easy. Now you have to put your names here, no? Line 1. So given name and surname. Given names are like first name or initials. So in my case, so I can type. Normally I keep at least one letter first to keep the exact fonts. Sometimes when you delete everything, you may say Ravindra, my first name, and Koggalage, and like that you can fill department name. If you are a student, no need to put affiliation. Name of the organization, University of Vocational Technology, like that, right? So this is the first author, then you put the second author name. If you have third person, your supervisor or someone, you can put third name also, right? And delete all the other things. Okay? So if one of you are the authors, you can put your names, and you can delete others. So then the abstract part also, you can type here the abstract, right? Cut and paste abstract. So what is abstract? So abstract is the what? It's a, you can see very short one, no? So normally 1 or 2 paragraphs we write. What is in the abstract? What are you going to put? It's a summary about whole paper. Okay? So initially you put something about the background of your research, 1 or 2 sentences, and then what you are going to do, right? In very short form. And probably the 1 or 2 sentences about what you have achieved, outcome. Okay? So let me try to see whether conference. We'll try to get maybe this one of the full papers. This is a different template, but you have the topic name. So if you read the abstract, you can see there's one sample on here. Most common method identified dispose in municipal solid waste. MSW. In Sri Lanka is the dumping waste. So we are telling about something background. Most of the times they have been dumped into unplanned sanitary yards, and the practice have become national level problem for disposing municipal waste. So this is background. Certain countries use alternative methods, disposal and so on, micro level planning methodologies. So then we come to Sri Lanka. However, in Sri Lanka there is a lack of introducing such methods. So we are coming into our problem, right, from the background. Therefore, the main idea of this research is to identify the attitude towards alternative microplanning and so on. So now we are putting main idea of this research. So what we are doing in this research, right? So you can put 1 or 2 sentences. And this research, therefore, initially introduces this method. So on results. Then finally, we are telling the results show a significant increase of awareness about how unplanned MSW disposal method is harmful for the environment. Right? So we compare earlier data and after implementing this data, so there's an increase. So in your paper, detailed results should be there. Right? Before you implement this, this is how. After this, this is how. Right? So in this case, we can say increase of awareness. So 1 or 2 sentences, you can tell what you have achieved. Right? And also considerable willingness to apply this method in university environment or Sri Lanka, whatever. Right? So when you read this, reader get an idea about whole thing. Right? Whether it's okay to read or no point of reading this. Right? So purpose of abstract is because we can't read all papers, no? So we have to get idea about paper, whether it is worth of reading or not. Okay? So in basic terms, it's the summary. Very short one. Okay? So after that, we go to keywords. Keywords are some important terms. Why we should put keywords? So municipal solid waste, sanitary landfilling, composting, Takakura composting method in this case, right? Yours may be PCB design. What? Yeah. So what's the purpose of keywords? So you know, no need to know, but when you search using keywords, Google search or something, you type PCB design or something, then whatever keywords available PCB design, they are listed in all those. Right? So your paper also be there if you put that. So normally search engines, they use keywords. Okay? And the reader also get whether I'm interested of reading these things. Right? So identify few keywords. And the introduction part, I don't know whether this got... yeah. So using that template, use the Word file and put your own thing. So introduction, we can tell about background. There, this is another important thing. So records at European context shows that in the European Union, an average amount of municipal waste generated per person 481 kilogram, and in year 2013. So important thing is these data we have to mention from where we got. Right? So here you notice within brackets there's one, no? Square brackets. What does that mean? So this is the another important point. That is the reference. So from where we refer this. So at the end, probably we have go to at the end. There's something called list of references. These are very important things when you are writing reports. Okay. See, references. So number 1 is there. So details are there. Right? Topic and the year. If you check other references, sometimes web link is there. If it is online reference, you have to put the access date also. Normally online references, we need to put like, in this case, accessed. You can see the date, no? Access date. Why this date is important? Because online information can be changed. So we, we have to mention when we refer this, right? If they change it later, it may be different information. So online references, we put like that. But published papers, we put all publication information, and you have to follow this exact format. So IEEE format, that format file, it is mentioned there. This is the same format. This is also IEEE. So if you go to this was our format page. Ne? Now when you refer template, this is not the formatting style. Na? Template, these instructions are there, but when you paste your ones, so instructions for references also here. See, the template will number citations consecutively within brackets. Brackets means these square brackets. And consecutively means from beginning introduction, first reference you put number 1, second place number 2, like that. You have to follow that order throughout the paper. So the end of the reference list must refer same order. Okay. So you can't put last paper in the reference list earlier. But after number 1, 2, 3, again you are referencing maybe after number 5 you want to refer number 4, then you can put 4. Once you create the reference list, you are not going to change that order, right? So first time reference must be that order in the paper. Okay. So numbers, when you start, it should go from 1, 2, 3 like that. And it is important to refer all the references you list in your text. Right? Something, 1 or 2 sentences you extract from the paper and put reference. Right? You can't just add references without referring in the text. Okay? That is a requirement for this conference IEEE format. So then referencing format also very important. First you can see number 1, the names of the authors, separating with commas, right? And then within inverted commas, it's the topic of the paper you referred. Okay? Then you have to mention where it published, right? Conference name or journal name and details. Finally, the date, the year of publication at the end. So all publications, year must be at the end. Okay? Authors first, then the topic, then where it published, and the year. If pages are available, you can put, but it is optional. So up to you. So you have to follow this exact format. Okay. So when you use this format file and fill in, you will get everything. So normally first we put introduction, and this template, you don't have to follow exact topics available here, but normally references we must put. Other topics, introduction or background, it's up to you to use your own subtopics, right? So normally we put introduction, then in this case ease of use. You don't have to use the same subtopic. Your own you can use, right? It depends on what you are doing. This is the template now. So this may be your methodology or procedure, right? Then results. So procedure, you can put all your diagrams, how you implement, right? And results and testing. So you discuss about results, and finally the conclusion. Okay? So you can download any IEEE paper and have a look. So like that, we can write them. And sometimes you need figures, tables, graphs, right? So when you put a figure, go to another published paper. See, in this paper we have 7 topics. What are 7 subtopics? You can have for your thing. Anyway, references must be at the last. Okay. Before that, conclusion is important. So we summarize what we have achieved, right? So you can see the results clearly shows the 100% awareness of the general is public about the, so when we implement, our results show 100% awareness. Like that, if possible, you can put percentage, right? It may not be 100%, 80%, 70%, it's okay. What you have achieved and not achieved, and also future extensions, what you can do, okay? You can put 2-3 paragraphs in conclusion. So try to fill the, so I want to show you when you put a figure, okay, there's a way. So figure should be outlined, outer box should be there, don't keep open ones, and figure, you can see figure 8 and short description of it. We call that caption, figure caption. So normally after the figure you have to put figure number and put that. Why you are using, in the text you have to mention figure number and explain. Not just put in figure is not enough. Okay. So here you can see this paragraph, figure 12, right? For making compost in the university, figure 12 premises. So we refer that figure and explain what is in that figure, right? So all the figures and tables you must explain, referring that figure number or table number or whatever. So convention for figures, after figure we put figure caption, but tables we put table number before the table. First this caption and then table. I don't know whether I have any tables here. So when you go to, if you go to template file, it will be there. Right. This after the figure you put figure, short figure caption. Figure number you have to put exact format, FIG.1, right? According to template. And you have to refer them and explain also. Let's see whether this template got, here's a table. So table caption we put before the table, okay? Figures after the figure. So this is the IEEE format, this template. So you have to follow exact template when you submit papers, okay? Even this subtopics numbering also, now don't put number 3 here, you have to put exact Roman or whatever their format, numbering, right? And the font of subtopics also that size. So use the template, okay? So very important to follow this template. So if they are not in the according to the template, they will reject your paper. Okay? So follow the exact template, that is very important. And if there are equations, you have to put numbers like that. So whatever things, I think they are available in this template. If you have any questions, you can contact us or any of our lecturers for further instructions, right? So I hope this information is enough to prepare your paper, right? Do you have any questions? In your case, you can prepare the draft and send me. I can have a look and give you comments back and rearrange. But all other listeners, they can follow exact guidelines according to the template. Okay? I think I have covered many things you require. So important thing is, make sure to download the template and use it when you edit. So whatever information, if I go back, initially you have to put the topic, then author names, there can be few authors, 2-3 authors, so use that format, and then you are supposed to write the abstract. Abstract is the summary of whole paper, keywords. Then like introduction is the background. There you can explain background information, importance of your research, and what you are doing, narrow down into your research problem. This is what I'm going to address, and also how to test it. This is how I'm going to test whether it is working or not, useful or not, right? Short one. You are not putting test results there. How to test. So all those things can be included into introduction. Then the methodology, or how we are going to do that. Explain what you are doing, really doing. Diagrams, everything, right? After methodology or the procedure, then what is the next one? Test results. So implementation, you can collect something and maybe put as graph forms or test data or figures and like that. And this is what you have achieved, your results. Okay? Then you have to comment about results, how good they are. Okay? And compare with the existing methods, and then you can refer back how we are going to test, whether you have tested like that and achieved expected results, right? So short discussion about your results. Finally, conclusion, what you have achieved, what you have not achieved, or what is future work another person can do, or in future we can extend this research into add these features and so on. So short discussion, right? So the introduction, background, literature review also very important. What similar implementations, right? And why your one is different from that, right? So when you refer any information, you have to put the reference number and the paper. Okay? So remember to follow author guidelines, read it from the website, and submission, how to submission, all the instructions are there once you have the paper ready. and you have to submit it by the deadline. So our initial deadline they have put is the 31st July. No? So before that you have to submit. There's a way to submit instructions are there. I think very simple way. You have to create an account and submit paper. You get acknowledgement when you submit. It's automatic thing, right? So submission things you can see, but try to write this the quality wise. Follow this order format exactly. Okay. So with that, you have any questions? So try to prepare the draft according to what you have done, and you have very short time. Within a week you have to finalize your paper. Get the instructions from whoever, your supervisor, and then submit the paper. Right, thank you. We can stop there.